Hello, everyone, and welcome to Really Old Movies. I'm your host, Harrison Scullin, and today we got a very special show for you. It's a makeup for last week's show. And so we got some old movie news, some old movie reviews, a couple animated short reviews, and after that, playing some Halo. And so with that, let's get this show started. All right, so the first film we'll be talking about is from Criterion Collection. They announced that in the last week of January, they'll be releasing Winchester 73 from 1958, I think it is? 1950, excuse me. And this is a Jimmy Stewart film. It's kind of a noir, western type of thing. I've never seen the film, but several westerns that Jimmy Stewart did were with Anthony Mann. That's a name you hear about all the time in regards to westerns. But it'll be released on 4K as well as Blu-ray at $39.96, so $40, and you can look forward to that in January. And that's from Criterion Collection. The next one I wanted to talk about was from Kino Lorber. So Kino Lorber Classics, right? They do a lot of old movie releases and whatnot. And they also do a lot of big collection ones. So this is another one of those. They're releasing the entire On the Road series with Bob Hope and Bing Crosby. They did several films together. And this is all of them on Blu-ray. And I think it was $16 a pop, I want to say. Relatively I want to say it was like $120 in total, something to that effect. But if you're interested in that movie, I know I really like Bing Crosby, for example, so I'm curious to check this one out. But you could look forward to that later in November on the 26th, so just before Thanksgiving. All right, next, so Warner Archive Collection. These are the films they released in September on Blu-ray. And they're ones you can find on their website right now, which I believe is connected to Amazon. But the ones I've been interested in are the Red Skelton film Bathing Beauty, Humphrey Bogart film Conflict, Orson Welles film Journey into Fear, the Irene Dunne film I Remember Mama. So pretty much all of those except for Johnny Quest. Johnny Quest is kind of take it or leave it for me. I didn't grow up watching him, and I'm not super interested in it. But I recommend checking those out. And now we'll be moving on to our first animated short review. So before I do that, let's see how our audio sounds. Except for Johnny Quest. Okay, perfect. We're sounding good. So I missed a live stream, so we'll be doing 2 of these today. So the first one is Hold Anything. Hold Anything from 1930 in the letterbox description says, Bosco is a construction worker who impresses Honey by making music from everything in sight, including a decapitated mouse, a typewriter, and a goat filled with hot air. This tune was just okay for me, not great, so I gave it a 2 out of 5, and you can find this short on YouTube as it is in the public domain. Alright, so now I'll move on to the next one. The booze hangs high from... the booze. Sorry. Let's say that again. The booze hangs high from 1930, according to its letterbox description. Bosco has a grand time on the farm, dancing with a cow, playing a horse's tail like a violin, and getting drunk with 3 pigs. This was a fun short. I really liked the singing animals, especially the pigs. They made me laugh a lot, so I gave it a 3.5 out of 5. And it's actually very similar to Steamboat Willie in the sense of the singing animals and whatnot, and the animation style, of course. I mention it all the time. And you can find this short on YouTube as it is in the public domain. Alright, so now I'm going to start recording here. I'm going to be doing the old film review now. And once I finish recording it here, I'll be able to edit it and post it onto YouTube so that as soon as this stream is over, you'll be able to watch that as well. And so let's move on to today's movie review. Okay, so today's movie review is The Ghost of Frankenstein. And here's some behind the scenes details from this film. From IMDb, it was reported that the rubber headpiece used for the Frankenstein monster makeup was very uncomfortable for Lon Chaney to wear. It sat directly on his forehead, and he constantly complained. Once he even asked for it to be removed, and angry and frustrated when no one listened, he ripped it off, and it tore a large gash on his forehead. And production of the film was stopped for a couple days after that incident. And so I thought that was pretty interesting. I mean, you could see here, because if you've seen other pictures of Lon Chaney Jr., you know, he does not have a protruding forehead. I mean, no one really does, right? It's more of the Neanderthal look, right? But I just can't imagine how painful that must have been. You know, just rip all that out, all that glue and whatnot. Oh, man. So, yeah, it was definitely not a comfortable production for him. And so let's get into my thoughts on the plot. The plot, I gave it a 2 out of 5. I thought it was really bad. To me, this is kind of where the franchise of Frankenstein kind of goes downhill. You know, the last one, Son of Frankenstein, 1939, was excellent, really good, much better plot, much better story. This one, if you compare it to Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman, House of Frankenstein, House of Dracula, with a lot of the same cast in all of those movies, it feels exactly the same as them. I think they made a formula and said, okay, let's just use it over and over and over and over again. And it's just, it's repetitive, it's not good. It's not good at all, especially when you compare it to the previous films. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Bride of Frankenstein, for example. I think it's a little overrated. I mean, she's only in it for what? A minute, if that, and she dies at the end? That's pretty lame. But, like, there were some really interesting stories there. These movies just feel so haphazardly done. And from what I remember from reading, this film was kind of the end of the major A units making the movies. After this, the monster movies became B movies, like in the true sense of the word. And you could tell the production was super cheap. Again, it looks like they filmed on a studio lot, because they did. It didn't look really realistic at all. I mean, to be fair, you know, the earlier ones did too, but they had the really cool set pieces, you know, the cool lab and whatnot for Frankenstein, but that's totally missing here, and it's not a good plot. You know, I had a hard time paying attention to it too. It was a very big disappointment, because I really like the other ones. Like I was mentioning, you know, 2 and, or I guess 3 and 1. You know, they're really good movies with Boris Karloff. I think once he's gone, they just are not good anymore. So that's why I gave it a 2 out of 5. So let's move on to the acting. So the acting, while it's not Boris Karloff, and that's a huge red flag, it should be, I thought Lon Chaney Jr. did just fine. He did just fine as the monster. He's pretty menacing, you know. He's tall, but it seems he's a little bit shorter than Boris Karloff. Boris Karloff seemed really, really tall. Let's see. Bela Lugosi's Igor was fine. All around, the acting is just subpar. I mean, in the last films, you had Boris Karloff and Basil Rathbone for fantastic in their respective roles. This movie is just your regular run-of-the-mill. There's a cheesy little love story, and you could tell they became formulaic by this period, during World War II especially. They try to capitalize. I keep bringing up Marvel, but it really reminds me so much of Marvel, where the first decade of it was fantastic. They had great stories, great cast, great cinematography, special effects, and all that. It was fantastic. And now it kind of seems it's going on a nosedive, with although in their case they're overspending on production. In these movies they had to significantly cut it. So I don't like these 40s Universal Monster movies. I've had a hard time with them. I haven't found one that I really like yet. It just seems the ones from the 30s, and with the exception of the Creature from Black Lagoon, the ones from the 30s are the best. So I would say steer clear of the sequels. But I haven't seen them all, so I can't make that full assessment. But anyways, acting, 3 out of 5. Okay, directing. My buddy Earl C. Kenton, who did House of Dracula and House of Frankenstein as well. 2 out of 5. It's the same story over and over and over again. And I think it was his idea. I'm not trying to make him an arch nemesis. I'm sure he was doing just what the studio told him to do. But my goodness, I don't understand. Well, I do understand why. That's more of a rhetorical, but I wish they could have kept up with the 30s quality. Because the 30s, it doesn't make sense. How is it that the acting got worse? How is it the costumes got worse? It should be getting better, right? I don't know. His style here is exactly the same as those other 2 films, House of Frankenstein, House of Dracula. Not much difference here. I guess he's good in being consistent. I'll give him points there. That's what the 2 is. No, these films. Alright, let's move on to cinematography and special effects. I gave it a 3 out of 5. It was significantly smaller. The budget was, like I keep mentioning. And they just started to become B films after this. And, the makeup looks pretty good. I mean, he really does look like Boris Karloff in this picture here. I'll give him credit there. The costume gets a lot cheaper and cheaper as these films go along. But I'll give him credit. They made him look a lot like the Boris Karloff one here. He doesn't look anything like Lon Chaney. In fact, if I didn't know that it was Lon Chaney, I would have thought it was just some other no-name actor. But no, it was him. So I would say that was good. But there's no gothic castles really. And I'm missing a lot of the stuff that made those other movies great. So, yeah, 3 out of 5. Alright, let's talk about the music. It's very generic. It's very similar to all the other Universal Monster movies from this era. So, 3 out of 5. Not terrible. Like, it fits with the mood and tone and whatnot, but it just blends in with the other films. I couldn't tell you this from House of Dracula, for example. Or Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman. Or they're all very, very similar in music and whatnot. So, 3 out of 5. Alright, so tallying that all up, that brings my Letterboxd score to a 2.6 out of 5, which is just barely a 3 out of 5. So that brings my critic list score to a 52%. Would I recommend this movie? No. Stick to Frankenstein from 1931, The Bride of Frankenstein from 35, and Son of Frankenstein from 39. They're the best in the Frankenstein series. I haven't liked any of the ones past then, so I don't recommend watching any of the ones past Son of Frankenstein, at least for the Frankenstein series. I haven't seen all of the other ones yet. I think I've seen all of the Frankenstein now. This might be the last one. The reason why it's kind of a little weird and out of order is because I'm actually following the back of my Universal Monster collection. And that has all the movies in like theatrical order and whatnot. And then when you pull out the case, it tells you what the films are chronologically not chronologically, but when they were released for each of the monsters. And so there's a lot of overlap because they did a lot of crossover movies. But at any rate, no, do not watch this movie. Do not waste your time with it. I'd only watch it after watching the other 3 good ones first, just so you could get an idea. But if you're starting out in the Universal, don't start out there. Start out with the better ones. All right, well, those are my thoughts on The Ghost of Frankenstein from 1942. Yep, 42. And thank you so much for listening and watching to today's movie review. Okay. Okay, so now I just finished recording that there. Let's see how it turned out. Close that. Whoops. Let's bring back up this guy here. Perfect. And this guy. Let's see how we're sounding. Except for Johnny Quack. Perfect. We're sounding great. Okay. Ooh, I'm getting some chats here. My stupid restream. Sorry about that, Not a Fed. I'll pull up your comments here in a second. Should have checked on that. Okay. Oh, Not a Fed says, sorry I missed it. Which entry was this in the series, i.e. sequel, third, fourth, etc.? This is the fourth film, The Ghost of Frankenstein is. And then he says, the Marvel correlation is where I was going to go with it next, assuming it was a later entry. Yes, 100%. Okay. I'm going to fix the properties here of this. Sometimes it works. Let's pull up the chat. There it is. Properties. There goes my printer. Copy. Let's paste that. Okay, it should be working now. Hello. Yeah, it's okay.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm gonna print something out. That'll be done.
Yeah, no worries. Alright, let's pull up Halo here.
You live streaming?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's okay. Turn off single cam here. That would be me. Alright, perfect. Alright, now let's see if it's picking up the audio there. Perfect. Yay. Alright, let's click start here. So you said you had an Acer laptop giving you trouble, so I just got one and I'm on the verge of returning it. Should have listened to your advice. I actually had an Asus, but I've heard that about Acer as well. Asus has been kind of hit and miss with me. I've had a few over the years. Never had an Acer though. I've just been finding that Windows 11 doesn't work very well on these laptops. I just think the way they designed it was really meant for bigger rigs with like 32 gigs of RAM, can handle several gigabytes of storage and all that. I don't think they... Maybe they did it on purpose. They want you to buy new stuff. I don't know, but I'm not liking how Windows 11 is storage-wise, so it is what it is. I wonder if people can hear me.
Infection.
Okay, good. Close there. You almost got me. Where are the zombies? Oh, close there.
Infected. New zombie.
Getting a message in this. Oh, Salty Nerd Podcast. Yes, Asus is going to be the next one I was going to try, despite my current laptop being the failure. Asus, without getting too much into it. BIOS is what's giving me. Ah, okay. Yeah, BIOS updates could be a real pain. Especially when you have to boot it into recovery mode and then trying to update it. It's a nightmare. Oh.
Round over.
Oh. Well, I guess she survived.
Infection. Infected. New
Some right
zombie.
I will say I have an Asus Chromebook and that's been working out pretty well. Working a lot better than the actual mod. I love that mod. Not a Fed says, oh man, I forgot they made Infection in actual mode. I love that mode on Combat Evolved. We could hardly ever find a server. Yeah. Well, ever since it's been on the Master Chief Collection, you could kind of rotate through a bunch of them. So, like, the next level could be from Halo 2, you know? It's kind of fun like that. Just gonna...
Round over.
Someone beat me to it.
Infection.
If you're wondering why my camera is so high, I haven't figured out why, but for some reason OBS shifted all my stuff upward. It's all connected now, so I have to basically delete it all and start over again. I just haven't had the time to do that yet. I know what the problem is. Isn't there a guy over here?
New zombie.
Dang it.
Game over.
Oh, he just killed himself. Try a Slayer around too. I might also do some. I just got Helldivers recently. I might do that too. Haven't played it a whole lot. It's me. Yeah, all my cameras and all that, they're all messed up. Even the game display here. I'll have that solved by later this week because I'm doing another live stream. Some of you are probably wondering why I haven't done the next level yet. I decided to take a break from that. Yep. You're good. You could grab your paper.
I don't think it
No. Oh no. Printing problems. Love you. Bye. It's my wife, everybody. Maybe I should do the... I also just got Lego Lord of the Rings. I don't know. I have a couple options I want to try out tonight. Just for fun, you know? Huh. Okay. Let's try... Well, if that doesn't work, maybe... Ooh, that'd be kind of cool. I'll show you guys how I edit the videos. Just as a little behind-the-scenes thing. It's kind of fun. Yeah, it's... Okay. I'll do that. Let me turn on the single cam here. kind of fun. Okay. Well, I bogged down the GPU though. Yeah, let's go for it. Let's see what happens. Oh wait, I'm a silly goose. I gotta make one first. I won't worry about that today, but okay. Talking out loud here. Okay. Okay, let's see. So, what is tonight's video? Episode number wise. Okay, 65. Perfect. Paste that. Take a couple seconds. I use Premiere Pro. I think that's, to me, the best video editing software. Oh yeah, let's see the CPU here. Yeah, we're good. It's gonna slow down just a little bit here, just because it's downloading. All right, perfect. Let's rename that. Go. Perfect. Get rid of that one. You guys haven't seen it yet. Me and Alex Figueroa, we did an episode on Creature from Black Lagoon, so I recommend checking that out. Let's pull up footage. Yes, 1028. Let's grab that boy. Okay, let's see how long it is. Here I'll be able to edit it and post it onto YouTube. Feels so. Who did House of Dracula? Okay, perfect. So now the moment of truth. Let's open up Premiere Pro. I know the rendering and all that's gonna be off. It's because this thing is a CPU